Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and today we're going to be breaking down the 5 most underrated signees in Michigan's 2023 recruiting class. Before we dive into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for just $10 until next football season. That gets you premium insider recruiting information, team information, basketball recruiting, NIL, transfer portal, and everything in between, as well as a great message board community over on the Fort, all for just $10 until next football season. If you're already a subscriber, you can gift a subscription. The holidays are here. Need a last-minute gift? Subscribe to the Wolverine.com for just $10 until August of 2023 and gift that to your fellow Michigan fan. All right, guys, we're talking the 5 underrated signees, or most underrated signees. This cycle, signing day, has passed us, so let's go ahead and take a look at the guys that signed, the guys that are really underrated that could be hidden gems. Now, Michigan finished with the number 20 class overall nationally, so there are quite a few hidden gems in this class, but I'm going to talk about my personal 5 favorite, the 5 guys I really think can pop and outplay their rankings. Let's go ahead and go. And everybody that I'm picking here is going to be a 3-star, and we're talking about ratings using the On3 consensus, which equally weighs all 4 major recruiting sites. So it's an average of On3, 24/7, ESPN, and Rivals, just to make that clear. So let's go ahead and start off with my first guy on the list, Nathan Afobe, interior offensive lineman out of Cumming, South Forsyth, in the state of Georgia, ranked as a 3-star prospect, the number 458 overall prospect nationally. Now, Afobe is a 4-star on 3. All 3 of the other sites rate him as a 3-star. Look, Afobe is the definition of a boom or bust prospect. He's a guy that can really live up to his ceiling, or he's a guy that we'll never hear from again. But coming to a place like Michigan that has had so much success with the offensive line the last couple of years, having Sharon Moore as the guy that's going to lead his development, having Ben Herbert in the strength and conditioning program, I think that Afobe is more likely to hit that boom than to hit that bust, right? He's a prospect that's extremely athletic, super long for just being 6'4", great feet. He is a skinny 282. Like, I know you probably don't think that exists. 282 pounds seems like a lot, but he has a really thin frame with the potential to add a lot of muscle and a lot of good weight. So I think he's going to be a grinding interior offensive lineman, and he has the willingness to be physical. He's mean on tape. He finishes blocks. The reason Afobe is ranked so low is because he is very, very raw. Technically, he has no clue what he's doing. He can be lost at times, and schools actually originally liked him as a defensive lineman. He's never fully focused on being an offensive lineman, so little things like kick step, hand placement, I mean, it's not there. It's just not, right? He's really, really raw, but the athletic intangibles are all there for him to be great at Michigan. He has the flexibility. He has the versatility to play both guard spots as well as right tackle. And like I said, when you have that length at 6'4", that's a lot of help. And when you have Sharon Moore and Ben Herbert to guide you, I think Afobe is going to be a nice steal for the Wolverines. Second on the list is Roderick Pierce, also known as Trey Pierce. 3-star defensive lineman out of Brother Rice in the great city of Chicago. Ranked as the number 497 overall prospect nationally. Now, Pierce is personally my highest ranked recruit that we're going to be talking about on this list. I think he's a top 300 level guy. Maybe not quite at the level I had Mason Graham ranked at last cycle, but I do think Pierce is going to way outplay this 3-star ranking. I think I would probably grade him somewhere between a top 260 to 300 level player. 6'3", 290 pounds. If you watch the junior tape, it's not overly impressive, and he's a 3-star across the board. Every major recruiting service has him ranked as a 3-star. You watch the junior tape, it's like, he's good. He's not amazing. But if you watch the senior tape, he really took a big step forward. He added about 30 pounds to his frame. He's a big kid. He's really strong. Even though he's 6'3", much like Afobe, he has really good length to him as well. He's a prospect that, again, uses that power and size to his advantage, but he's still growing into his body. But he's very athletic, fires off the ball, gets into the backfield, gets great penetration, not only takes up multiple blockers and allows guys behind him to make plays, but also makes a lot of plays on his own, a lot of tackles for loss, a lot of interior pressure. Knows how to play multiple spots along the defensive line, played some nose, played some 3 technique, played some 5 technique. So he's a really smart football player as well. I think the potential is sky high. Again, I don't think he's as ready to make an immediate impact as Mason Graham was, but I do think he's a guy that could see the field early. Remember, Pierce was committed to Wisconsin before eventually landing at Michigan, and Wisconsin does a great job of finding low-key, under-the-radar defensive linemen throughout the Midwest. So I think Pierce is next in line. I think he's going to be a guy that really surprises a lot of people. All right, third on the list is Samaj Morgan, ranked as the number 504 overall prospect in the country on the consensus, a 3-star on 3 of the 4 major sites. I have him ranked as a low 4-star. I mean, I just love Samaj Morgan. He might not have the measurables. He's only 5'9.5", 185 pounds. His track times leave a lot to be desired, etc. He's a guy that just makes plays on the field, man. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can play in the slot. He even played quarterback this year when West Bloomfield's starter went down with an injury. Again, the track times aren't amazing, but he can take the top off of defense. He's a really angry route runner, has strong hands, plays bigger than his size, isn't afraid to go up against taller physical corners. He also has the versatility to play nickel. He was one of the best defensive players in the state of Michigan this year and had multiple interceptions as well. So very much like Mikey Sainristil, I wouldn't be surprised if Morgan does end up on the defensive side of the ball because he has such great natural instincts. Like I said, recorded multiple interceptions as a senior, has that dog mentality, likes to get physical, but offensively, he's a playmaker as well. So you have a two-way player in Morgan that just has so much heart, man. Heart of a lion. He loves the University of Michigan. This is a culture guy all the way, future team captain. A lot to love about Samaj Morgan. So, yeah, might not have the size, might not be the fastest guy, but, man, he has the biggest heart out there. So I think Samaj Morgan's going to have a very, very productive career at Michigan. Next guy on my list is Jason Hewlett, 3-star linebacker out of Youngstown, Cheney in Ohio. Ranked as the number 574 overall prospect nationally, a 3-star on 3 of the 4 major recruiting services. I have him ranked as a 4-star. I love Jason Hewlett, man. What a great late find by Steve Clinkscale, Michigan's co-defensive coordinator, also a fellow Youngstown native. Went out there, identified Hewlett, got him on campus while Hewlett was still committed to Cincinnati, and then was able to win over his commitment. Hewlett, 6'3", 215 pounds, really long, plays some offense as well, even some special teams. I mean, he's a guy that returns kicks too at this size and weight. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But I think he's just a really raw athlete that can play multiple positions. I don't think you just have to pigeonhole him to a linebacker. He can be a bigger safety, like an RJ Moten. He can also come off the edge. I like him best at the will spot because I think he fits what Jesse Minter looks for in his linebackers. He can run. He's athletic. He can get sideline to sideline in a hurry. He can play in space. He can drop back into coverage. He can blitz and come off the edge if you need him to. So I think he's the ideal linebacker at the will spot for Michigan. A lot to love about Jason Hewlett. Again, just a really raw guy right now. Needs to really, sharpen up his technique and learn more and fine-tune his game and settle into a position. But a lot to love about his frame, a lot to love about his athleticism and speed. I think Jason Hewlett, out of the 4 Ohio guys they got on board this cycle, is by far the most exciting. That ceiling is sky high for Hewlett. And last guy on the list, we're going with one of the newest additions, and that is Hayden Moore, 3-star linebacker out of Aurora, Colorado, Regis Jesuit School, ranked as the number 1,232 overall prospect nationally. Needless to say, a 3-star across the board, almost a 2-star on Rivals. Jeez. I think Hayden Moore is a lot better than that. Now, I don't have Hayden Moore graded as a 4-star. I do have him graded as a high 3-star, so I must admit that. But I think he's a guy that's much closer to like the number 450 overall recruit nationally, as opposed to like the number 1,232 overall prospect. So that's a pretty big difference. I think he should be about 700 or so spots higher than what he is right now. Moore, a former Nebraska commit who ended up sort of flipping to Michigan. He decommitted from the Huskers and then picked Michigan a day later after making an official visit the last weekend before signing day. But Hayden Moore, a big linebacker at 6'3", 210 pounds, a long kid as well. Another guy that can play multiple spots, can come off the edge, can be a Will, can be a Mike. I know Michigan talked to him a little bit more about being a Will. You turn on his tape and he's super impressive, man. He's a tackling machine. He racked up a ton, like 200 tackles as a senior. And he does a lot in that 3-3-5 defense. He mostly plays outside linebacker, but he does come off the edge as like a wide 9. He drops back into coverage as well. He gets sideline to sideline. So when you look at Moore's tape, it's a lot of this is really good tackler, really good sideline to sideline speed, really good technique and pursuit angles, really good coming off the edge and getting pressure on the quarterback. So really good. Reason he's not ranked super high is because he's not special in any one area. He's not a special athlete. He doesn't really pop out when he does one thing, right? But he is very good at everything. He checks every box you want. He's very, very good. So I think he's going to be ultra productive at Michigan. He might need a couple of years to sit behind guys, but I really like his athletic profile. He's a plus baseball player. He's not necessarily a special athlete. He's not as good of an athlete as Jimmy Rolder last cycle, but kind of similar type of playing styles. And I think Jim Harbaugh mentioned that in his podcast as well, that Moore was a little similar to Jimmy Rolder. I do see that. Jimmy was a great athlete. I mean, just deceptive athlete. I know a lot of people didn't talk about his athleticism, but going out and seeing Jimmy in person, he was an amazing athlete. And I think with Hayden Moore, he's not quite at that level, but his game does resemble Jimmy's a lot. And the fact that he's just very good at a lot of things, I think he's a perfect fit for Michigan. He's going to be a disciplined player that, again, is going to produce. He's going to rack up tackles. He's going to be a great fit for Jesse Minter's defensive scheme. So I think Michigan got a steal late in Hayden Moore, stealing him from Big Ten bunkmate Nebraska. So those are my 5 most underrated prospects in Michigan's 2023 recruiting class. For more National Signing Day coverage, make sure to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for just $10 until next football season. Like this video, it helps with the algorithm, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's completely free and you'll get notifications every time we drop a new video.